What's going on, guys? It's the Bigs Podcast, episode number 196. And today we are going to talk about the 16 stories that each and every one of you and I have created over the first 15 weeks. And with me is the only man capable of telling all those stories with me. He is the reason for this league, and he is the reason within this league. We appreciate our commissioner, my best friend, and my roommate, Ben Nisman. Benny, how you feeling this evening, my friend?
Feeling good, Joe. Thank you for that awesome introduction. It's been a real fascinating first 15 and a half matchups. A lot of anxiety for some, a lot of excitement for others, but it's certainly been intense to say the least. So let's get it going, buddy. Lead us off, my man.
Let's get going, boys. We are going to talk about each and every one of you and the season that you have had from draft to present. We'll be doing that in reverse order of the standings. So, with that all being said, we kick it off with Ari Nisman, known as Bumpin' Uglas. 30 moves on the season, no trades. He is winless in his last 12 weeks with only one win on the season. Who's that win over? Do you know?
It's Mike Haber, actually, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, it is. Surprisingly enough, he's been in last place since week 5. Peaked at 13th in week 2, and this could go down as one of the worst seasons in history.
Yeah, well said. I mean, he's got the number two waiver spot. We know that he's had the number one waiver spot in many, many years and has never used it. And he's right now probably the biggest layup for any opponent right now that's facing him. So it's funny because, of course, not one team is going to go winless for 22 weeks. It's interesting that the first win was in week 2 against a manager like Mike Haber. That's the bigs for you, but it has been really unfortunate, pretty frustrating to watch. As far as on the batters section, Ari is 6-8 against opponents in runs. He's tied in doubles, 7-7. 4-2 with 8 ties and triples. In home runs, he's 4-10. In RBIs, 8-6. Stolen bases, 8-6. Walks, 7-7. Strikeouts for a batter is 4-9. Errors, 6-5. Average, 6-8. And on base percentage, it's 7-7. So a 500 average record there. Now, as far as the pitching side,
Well,
it's
as far as the
it
batters go, I mean, he certainly plays with a full offense, so I'm not surprised that he's down in the strikeouts category, but doing enough to win enough weeks in the counting stats in order to stay competitive there. His offense isn't the problem. I think his bigger problem is on the pitching side.
yeah, absolutely. In fact, a 252 average for the season, it's basically in the middle. His on base percentage is 324. That's also basically in the middle. Um, for the home runs, he's a little towards the bottom, but still competable.
Mm-hmm.
And then doubles, it's pretty low on the list, but again, it's enough to compete against opponents. So, like we know, it's really just about who you're facing at that given time where that really matters. On the pitching side, as far as against opponents, he's 3-11 in innings pitched, 5-7 in wins, 6-6 in losses, 8-4 in saves, believe it or not. 3-8 in home runs given up, 6-8 in walks given up, 4-10 in strikeouts, 5-9 in ERA, 4-10 in WHIP, and yes, in relief appearances, it's a flat out winless, 0-14 in relief appearances. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, you can't punt one stat in our league. It's been proven now that you can't. It's going to be almost impossible for you to make the playoffs if you're going to go 0-22 in one particular stat.
Yeah. You're already kicking 22 stats down the road
Yes,
before you even take the first pitch.
correct.
It's not a sustainable strategy. It is not something that, and it's beatable very easily.
Right, for sure. And it's funny because like his ERA is 4 even.
Mm.
It's not even that bad. You know what I mean? I think it's just that on Sundays, most opponents can navigate to find out how they're going to win this stat. His whip is towards the top, actually, a 123 whip. It's really, really not that bad, Joe. But obviously, innings pitched, he's second to last. And that's usually not that big of a deal because like I'm actually dead last in innings pitched. But if you're not going to be winning strikeouts, if you're not going to be winning losses, if you're not going to be winning walks given up, I mean, you're going to be surrendering so many stats, and it just seems like what's happening is he might be in it towards the weekend, but again, on Sunday, his opponent knows which stats they can win and which stats they can't, and they just play the game according to the score.
Yeah. It's a very beatable strategy. It has been now for 2 straight years, and even in
Three, arguably
2023.
three.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a shame because this league is better when Ari is good in it. It was great in 2022 when he was able to make the playoffs, and this thing seemed to come together. But it's time to evolve, or this is your future is just last place every year.
Correct.
All right, let's move on to Chris Levy, who is in
Oof.
15th place this year.
Yeah.
143 moves in one trade. The trade was with you. He received Christopher Morel for Taylor Rogers. Who cares? 3 wins on the season. Ari, Sherman, and Jimmy. He peaked at 11th in week 1, and Judge and Devers were the first 2 off the board for him. Should keep him competitive alone, but Devers' early struggles were kind of an omen that we should have seen coming. On the pitching side, he has had injury after injury after injury. Cole Reagans, Pablo Lopez, Aaron Nola, George Kirby. All 4 of his top 4 pitchers injured at one point or another.
Mm-hmm. Well, I just this is a very opposite strategy to our last place team, right? Where like you can say Ari has been too passive, not aggressive enough. Um, you could say that maybe Chris has been almost too aggressive, right?
Mm-hmm.
Ari has 30 moves on the year, 30, which is what, about
2 a week.
2 per matchup. And now Chris with 143. Hell, that's
almost
second
all 10.
most.
Yeah.
It's second most in our league after Jason.
Mm-hmm.
Jason is 146, Chris is 143. And the biggest thing that I have noticed is often a guy will get added and then dropped in a matter of hours or even
Mm-hmm.
sooner. Just a mistake, a decision quickly. You know what? Maybe I don't need this guy. I need this guy instead. And that's one ad off your books that you can't use now.
Mm-hmm.
So it seems like it's been too aggressive. There hasn't been a ton of practical reasoning on the plays specifically towards the end of the week. I think he's still learning how to play to the score on Sunday, not knowing what he has to gain and what he's risking in order by playing a certain player. For instance, if home runs given up by a pitcher are close, to know not to play your pitchers towards the end of the Sunday because you don't want to risk losing that category.
Mm-hmm.
So just different decisions like this might have helped him in the standings. Like you said, injury bug has plagued him. He also made some decent pickups, though. Remember, Tyler McGill very early in the season helped him out a bit. He has had some surprising wins here. I mean, beating Jimmy, I think, surprised all of us in the way he did. Fantasy baseball will tend to do that for someone once in a while. You will get your explosive week on the pitching side and the hitting side. I think that's basically what happened against Jimmy. But in general, it hasn't been pretty. I
No.
mean, if we look at the opponent, the record versus opponents here, it's 4-10 in runs against opponents, 8-5 in doubles, which is nice, 2-7 in triples. That's random. 6-5 in home runs, 7-6 in RBIs, 6-5 in stolen bases. So right there, we have an over 500 average in home runs, RBIs, and stolen bases. We go to walks, 6-6, Ks, 5-8, errors, 3-9, not a defensive team at all. 8-6 in average and 9-5 in on-base percentage. When you look at all of that, Joe, you say, well, why isn't he doing better? He's over 500 in doubles. He's over 500 in home runs, RBIs, stolen bases, average, and on base. That's 6 out of the 11 that he's over 500 in, right? So that should maybe equal that he's about 500, right? Like maybe a little bit better. Okay, here we go with the pitching stats. 9-4 in innings pitched, 8-4 in wins, 6-8 in losses, 1-10 in saves, 5-8 in home runs given up, 2-11 in walks given up, 9-5 in Ks, 3-11 in ERA, 3-11 in WHIP, and 4-10 in relief appearances.
There it is.
Yeah, it's like when he's over 500, it's only by a little bit, but when he's under 500, he's drastically under 500, right? So his ERA on the season it's towards the bottom. It's 4.15. It's tied with Adam. It's second to last, Jason being the worst at 4.16. It's doable. It's tolerable. It's something you can compete with. WHIP, pretty much last. It's second to last to Bobby. Bobby is 1.34 in WHIP, and Chris is 1.30 in WHIP. That's second to last. Yeah, he's second to last in relief appearances. No surprise, Ari is dead last in relief appearances. In saves, he's dead last in saves with 6 saves all season. So look, if you're gonna go what did we say for the pitching? He's standby. He's 1-10 in saves and 4-10 in relief appearances. So he's lost 18 stats so far in the first 15 weeks for those two stats. I mean, it's really, really hard to recover from that. And unfortunately, because of what I thought was peculiar roster construction early on, having Devers, Riley, CJ Abrams, and Volpe, there has been one man left out of that every single week. It's impossible to play all four. He's left stats on the bench as a result. Do I think this would have made a big difference? No, I really don't. I think if anything, maybe he's up a couple of extra stats. Maybe instead of being 40 under 500, he's something like 34 under 500, but it really wouldn't make a difference. I think that in this case, there's a lot of teams in this league that know how to play against a guy that has a very specific strategy, whether it's an Ari strategy, which is just very passive, or an over aggressive strategy where you know your opponent only has 1 or 2 ads left. They can only do so much. So if I can count how many innings this guy can actually get, even with adding 2 starting pitchers, all I have to do is think in my head, well, I have no way of catching him in innings and strikeouts, so I'm not even going to bother. Or I definitely have enough ads to do that, so I'm just going to add starting pitchers and win those stats. It's that simple.
Yeah. And it's unfortunate Chris is having such a down year. I've said it on other episodes. Judge would be a really nice piece for somebody to have during a playoff push. Obviously, that's not going to happen this year. We've seen star players, superstar MVP level players on teams toward the bottom in years past, which is interesting that you could have the MVP of the league and be toward the bottom.
Yep. Sure. And this is a team actually in 2022 that went to the finals. Chris Levy that year had Goldschmidt and Judge and that was the two MVPs for 2022. So that was a circumstance where he happened to have the two best players, and that catapulted him to the final.
No doubt. No doubt. All right, let's move on to the next manager here. Let's talk about Kostas Paragas, who finds himself in 14th after the first 15 weeks. 108 moves on the season as of recording, one trade, and I think this is a winner for him. He receives Trey Turner for Michael King and Devin Williams. That trade with Cody. Williams was demoted as the closer for Luke Weaver. Michael King has been injured most of the year. So just having a healthy Trey Turner is a winner for Costas.
Yeah, I have to happen to agree with that. Obviously, Devin Williams has gotten more save opportunities lately, but when you think of like the fact that Michael King could have been the one that tips the scales a little bit, this turned out to be pretty reasonable for both sides. Trey Turner's having a decent season. You know that the Phillies are going to have a decent season. Um, and the fact that Costas had Luke Weaver, I thought that was pretty smart. Uh, I think Costas just ran into one big problem in week 6 because after 5 weeks, he has a 9-9 tie with you, then a 13-8 win over Bobby, an 11-7 win over Adam, a 15-6 win over Brian, and a 13-8 win over Henry. And Costas, for the first time ever in this league since he joined in 2020, he was in first place. First time ever, right? Then week 6, he plays Josh and he loses 16-2, right? So all that work that he did, all of a sudden, boom, it's like it all went washed away. And then losing to Mike Sherman 12-7. A tie with Mike Haber was nice, 9-9. A 13-7 loss to Jason, and then a 15-5 loss to Frank. And then it's really just been trying to play catch up. A 12-8 win over Ari, a 15-4 loss over to Jimmy. Then Chris Levy beat 10-9, and then he loses to Cody 11-8. So he's had some nice wins, but the losses have been monstrous. 15-4, 15-5, 16-2. It's hard to recover from these poundings.
Yeah. Yeah, he has 6 wins total on the season, but only 2 of them have come since week 5. So in the last 10 weeks, he has not answered the bell, and he has been tumbling down the standings. Like you said, he led the league in weeks 4 and 5 this year. Had the number 1 overall pick in the draft. He won the lottery, and Ohtani has really led the way for him. But his pitching really been his detriment. I feel like Logan Gilbert has been injured, and that the pitching staff isn't what he thought it was going to be.
Yeah, sure. And then as far as against opponents this
Yeah.
year, 5-8 in runs with one tie, 5-9 in doubles, 5-4 in triples, 8-5 in bombs, 6-7 in RBIs, 5-7 with two ties and stolen bases, 4-9 in walks with one tie, 9-5 in strikeouts, 9-3 in errors with two ties. Solid defensive team, it looks like. 7-7 in average, 5-9 on base percentage. Seems like a pretty mixed bag. On the
Mm-hmm.
pitching side, it's 7-7 in innings pitched, 5-7 with two ties and wins, 4-8 in losses, 3-6 in saves, which is a little uncharacteristic for Costas. He's usually builds a pretty deep bullpen. He's usually at least going 500 in saves, not 3-6, with 5 ties, by the way. 3-11 in home runs given up, 5-8 in walks given up, 9-5 in Ks, 5-9 in ERA, 6-8 in WHIP, and 10-4 in relief appearances. So because he's winning strikeouts, 9-5 against opponents, he's at about 500 in innings pitched. But the fact that he's taken losses 4-8, home runs 3-11, 5-8 in walks given up, 6-8 in WHIP, and 5-9 ERA, it tells me that his opponents are just saying, "Yeah, go ahead, take strikeouts, take strikeouts. I'll take every negative stat from you."
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's basically what's been going on because, I mean, when you look at his ERA in general, it's it's tolerable. It's something that you can actually go ahead and compete with. This year it is 397.
Yeah,
It's not terrible. You know what I
that's
mean?
definitely competitive.
Yes, 100%. And then the whip, it's it's middle of the pack. It's 1.26. It's definitely something that can be you can compete with. So it's really just how he's been able to be handled by other opponents. Um, Batting average, he's batting 258. That's three, four, five, seventh in our league in the top 50
Yeah.
percentile. And then in on base percentage, right down the middle with a 324 on base percentage. You can compete with these stats. I think again, he's just walked into opponents that were having hot weeks, and it was just the wrong time to be playing against them. And then you just end up falling short on a lot of tight stats. And then, you know, we you guys talk about like how there are so many close stats that a team can lose in, and then if you lose 8 of those by 1 or 2. It's just like, well, the score ends up being 16-3, but man, that matchup could have been really much closer. I think
Mhm.
that Costas has been a culprit of that, where like a lot of the stats were pretty close, but as the opponent has known how to win by 1 or 2.
He is unfortunately still tumbling down the standings. We hope to see him rise back up. I mean, if we look at the first 7 weeks as an omen over what can be done, if he repeats what he did in the first 7 weeks, he should be right back in the hunt. But
Yeah, it might be too little too late. This
mhm,
team is a pain in the butt, by the way. Like, don't let it fool you that, like, just because it's an under 500 team, this is not a good team. And the teams that have lost to him know this. They know they've experienced the fact that if Otani goes crazy and he goes off, he can carry Costas So you look at this team, man, Yandy Diaz, Trey Turner, Teoscar, Otani, Alec Bohm. He's got Logan Gilbert, Freddie Peralta. Like there's enough household names that he can beat up teams on a given week. I just think it hasn't all come in at the same time for him in
mhm.
one particular week. It might have in the first part of the season, but just slowly but surely, they just all haven't clicked at the same time. Hell, even Seiya Suzuki is having a nice year. Like
Mhm.
it's a deep offense. It's a solid manager. Again, I really think that there have been enough close stats towards the end of the week that he can find his way to be on the winning side of.
And sometimes you have a bad season like that. You're just the circumstances around the league make it that you are the guy who's getting screwed by circumstance time after time. And it happens to at least one person every year. This year,
Mhm.
it seems to be Costas.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the next manager, and it is going to be my co host week to week. It is Jason Ashby. 146 moves that makes the most in the league and 5 trades as we approach the deadline. The first one, Dylan Lee for Eduardo Rodriguez. He wins that one because Dylan Lee's still on his roster. He receives Nick Pivetta, Ivan Herrera, and Brendan Donovan for Framber Valdez, Matt Shaw, and Francisco Alvarez. I'm
Hmm.
calling this one a loss, man. He doesn't have anybody left on the team from this trade, and Framber
Sure.
Valdez is having a really nice season.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see what the Nick Pavetta, the ultimate Nick Pavetta trade, because he ends up moving him later, how
Mhm.
that ends up benefiting him. But him getting rid of Francisco Alvarez, I mean, I think that if you look at that, that wasn't too brutal, right?
True, but the guy that he replaced him with got injured and is off the team as well.
Yeah.
So he receives Ketel Marte and Stephen Kwan from Mason Miller. I'm calling that one a big win. Garrett Whitlock and Brandon Lau for Brendan Donovan is to be determined. And he receives Jeremy Pena, Seth Halverson, and Jung Hoo Lee for Willie Adamas, Nick Pivetta, and Shohei Otani pitcher to be determined.
Yeah, not sure about those last couple right now. And it's unfortunate that Jeremy Pena goes down with the injury because that was the target for Jason. That was a guy that he was very interested. He said, I like Jeremy Pena more than I like Willie Adames. I like him down the stretch more than the other guy. Pena gets injured. That's circumstantial, but it, like you said, to be determined, Jason could still end up winning that deal.
No doubt. No doubt. He has 5 wins on the season. He peaked in 10th place in 3 separate occasions, which sounds not great, but when you talk about how close these standings have been all season, being in 10th should only be a couple of games out of a playoff spot. So he's
Yeah.
been there the entire time.
Yeah, and this matchup with Josh right now, it looks ugly at the moment. It's a 16-3 lead over Josh. But much like my lead on Costas 14-4, there's enough close stats that Jason can be playing for and at least tighten that up. Maybe he can make it something like a 15-6, even something like that would at least keep him in the hunt right now with 7 matchups to go.
No doubt. No doubt. He did take an early beatdown from Mike Haber, among others. It had him in the basement after 2 weeks. So to
Yeah.
dig out and be competitive after that kind of start is a testament to the kind of manager that he is.
Oh yeah, I agree. 14-4 loss and then a 15-5 loss to Frank, and then he responds with the 13-6 win over Jimmy and a 15-4 win over Cody, and then you're right back in it after 4 weeks. And he was as good as it can be as far as staying even keel early in the season, because many of us, you lose 14-4 and 15-5 in the first 2 weeks, and you're thinking like, man, this could come apart on me and unravel really, really quickly. And his attitude on it was so in the grand scheme, like the looking at the big picture. And I think that was really, really useful for him, because I mean, all the experience he has now is just, that's just another week that's part of fantasy baseball. And we'll talk about some of the other teams that have taken big, big losses this season and managed to find a way to recover. It is so easy to get negative and down on yourself after you take an enormous loss, let alone 2. And it takes a lot of character and a lot of built character in this part from Jason to just say, it's 2 weeks and it's way too early. And he found his way to dig out. It looks pretty it doesn't look pretty right now, but I think that if, again, he can find a way to mitigate this loss against Josh and then somehow respond against Mike, he'll still be in this thing, because so many managers are playing each other that they can beat up on each other and he can just gain some ground that way. We'll have to see.
Yeah.
As far as how he's doing against opponents this year, well, it's 7-6 in runs, 9-5 in doubles, 7-3 in triples, 6-6 in home runs, 5-8 in RBIs, 6-6 in stolen bases, 6-8 in walks, 6-8 in strikeouts, 4-7 in errors, 5-9 in average, 7-7 in base percentage. It's kind of a mixed bag, right?
Yeah, it's a little up the middle.
Right. On the pitching side, 11-2 in innings pitched, 5-5 in wins, 4-9 in losses, 6-7 in saves. For a guy that really didn't build much of a bullpen this year and has been kind of just like finding a way to like grab a save here and there, 6-7 and 1 tie in saves is actually pretty damn good.
Yeah.
3-8 in home runs given up, 3-8 with 3 ties, 5-8 in walks given up with 1 tie, 13-1 in strikeouts. That's good. 4-10 in ERA, 8-6 in WHIP, 4-10 in relief appearances. Yeah. I don't know, man. It's towards the bottom in batting average. It's third to last with a 248 batting average. On base percentage, somewhat towards the middle, a 322 on base percentage. ERA, it's right at the bottom, 4.16. WHIP, just waiting for the computer. In WHIP, he is towards the middle, 125 WHIP. Yeah, I think yeah, the pitching, it's not ideal. But I feel like, again, I think it's just that he's taken some really tough losses, some big losses. I beat him pretty good. It seems like it's a solid team. He's built a good offensive team. Going into the season, we thought this was probably the best pitching staff of anyone that drafted. it doesn't seem like it's the numbers on paper. It hasn't actually transpired that way.
Yeah, I think the trade of Framber Valdez that early changes the aspect of this pitching staff because having Skubal, Framber, and Imanaga would have been a fantastic 1-2-3. He trades away Framber and Imanaga gets hurt almost immediately after. Skubal's been fantastic. He's been amazing. But that's only one guy who goes every fifth day.
Yeah, and sometimes he does, and most of the time I would say he doesn't pitch twice a week.
Right.
So you got to kind of make up the innings with other guys and hope that they're going to give you quality innings. But the fact that he's dead last in ERA, I think that surprises many of us.
Yeah, I think it speaks to him picking up and streaming as many starting pitchers as he does. He leads the league in innings. Um, but yeah, that's a side effect of that strategy.
Yeah.
Corbin Carroll has been hurt this year as his first rounder. Willie Adames has been a disappointment as his fifth rounder. He traded away his third and fourth rounders in Framber and Mason Miller. It was an interesting draft for him.
Yeah, 100%. And again, I actually thought that this team would compete a lot more, and it arguably has. It was just that again, those first two matchups against Mike and Frank, he's already starting off in a hole, and he found his way to
Mhm.
dig out, and he was right in the middle of the pack, but he leaves himself very little leeway for another mistake, and that's kind of just what happened. I'm hoping that the trades that he made end up benefiting him more than his opponents necessarily. Because if that happens, if that sort of starts to pay off more, I think he could still be in the running. But the schedule is not really ideal. It's not in his favor. We know that now he's got to face Josh Haber for the rest of this matchup, but then it's Mike Haber, it's Frank, it's Jimmy, it's Cody, it's you again. It's going to be tough, but I believe in him, and I know that he's pretty savvy about how to use his 10 ads week to week. So I'm still confident he can make a run.
Yeah, I think there will be a run with him. It's just a question of whether it's going to be enough or it's too little, too late. Let's move on to the next manager here. We're going to talk about Michael Sherman, who is, in fact, young and the restless this year. No more Kershaw for Passover. 52 moves on the season, one trade. It was with you. It was before the season even started. He received Seth Lugo and Josh Young for Nolan Arenado and Tyler Soderstrom. I give him a win on this one because he got Soderstrom back, who's having a really nice year.
Yeah, not only that, Seth Lugo has had a solid year. Josh Young has been fine, and Nolan Arenado has been just okay at
Mm-hmm.
best. So yeah, no, that's a win for Sherman over me in this deal. Everyone knew when they saw that trade, that's Ben trying to get his guy, and he's willing to add more and even dare I say, I'm willing to lose the trade to get my guy,
Mm-hmm.
because I gave him an offer he couldn't refuse at that point. No one knew what Soderstrom was. So I was like, sure, I'll take Soderstrom. But I absolutely know, unless this guy gets catcher eligibility, he ain't on my team when I have Harper and Carlos Santana. So I give him a lot of credit on seeing that this is like a big time prospect. And once he falls into free agency, anyone else could have had Soderstrom, but he said, "This is my guy. I'm interested in him. I believe in him. I know he's going to get playing time." And I give him a lot of credit. He's had some wins this season that has shocked you. Even last week, the way he beat Josh Haber, you're like, "What? He beat Josh?" Yeah, he did. He's been making moves at 4 a.m. on Sundays. It's very unlike him, but Mike Sherman has been a lot more aggressive than he has in previous seasons, and it's shown. As far as how he's done against opponents on the offensive side, it's 6-6 in runs with two ties, 7-6 in doubles, 5-3 in triples, 5-8 in bombs, 5-9 in RBIs, 10-4 in stolen bases, 5-9 in walks, 5-9 in strikeouts for a batter, 6-7 in errors, 7-7 average, but 3-11 in on base percentage. Well, I guess that kind of goes hand in hand with the 5-9 with walks.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. One does affect the other.
yeah. Um, Now on the pitching side, he is 7-7 in innings pitched, 7-6 in wins, 5-5 in losses, 8-4 in saves because he actually built a bullpen this year. 10-4 in home runs given up. 10-4, that's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
7-5-9 in strikeouts, 10-4 in ERA, 7-7 in WHIP, and 4-10 in relief appearances. It tells me that this guy has had a pretty solid ERA this year. And it turns out that he is, come on, computer, it's coming. Second in the league, 3.35. Second in the
Really
league, man.
nice. That's really nice.
Yeah, it's surprising. And then as far as WHIP goes, he's third in the league with a 1.17. I have the highest with a 1.14, Cody with a 1.16. Yeah, his pitching has been awesome this year. Like it's just, again, I think it's just how he's handled other opponents, you know. 251 in batting average. It's towards the bottom, but it's basically right in the middle. A 3.15 on base percentage. That's towards the bottom. That's second to last. Jimmy with the worst on base percentage in the league right now at 3.14.
He has 7 wins on the season, which is pretty surprising since he is sitting currently, I believe, in 12th. Um, does he did peak in 4th place thanks to 4 straight wins weeks 6 through 9 over Henry, Costas, Jason, and Ari. Put those 4 in a row, and he's in 4th place. Speaking to the starting pitching or the pitching in general that you were alluding to, how good it's been. He didn't draft a starter until round 8, which was Spencer Schwellenbach, who's gone for the season. So he's really pieced this thing together quite nicely. The big disappointment in his first 5 rounds is Brenton Doyle. He picked him up in the 5th round, and he has been a huge disappointment. And what the hell was Dylan Cruz in round 7?
I asked him about that. I just said, I don't even know who Dylan Cruz is. And he said, this is a big time prospect. I said, okay. Like, you're following that stuff more diligently than I am. So it turns out to be way too early for that player. But when you look at the rest of the group, between Lindor, Jaron Duran, Bo Bichette, there's some names out there that scare you. Cody Bellinger is having a pretty solid run right now. So, I think it's not enough. I feel like between the way that he plays the game day to day and this group, I don't think that this is a playoff team this year. I could be shocked and it happens, but just based on his schedule and what he's got here, it just doesn't seem like it's going to be enough.
No, but this is a much better season than we've seen from Mike Sherman in the past. And hats off to him on being as competitive as he's been. He's been right in the glom for the whole season, and he's been, a really competitive manager week to week. So hats off to him.
For sure.
Let's move on to the next guy. It's Adam Lowenstein. He has 99 moves on the season, and 1 trade just recently went down. He receives David Bednar and Gleyber Torres for Cedar Rafaela, Matt McLean, and Matt Olson. That trade was with Frank. It is to be determined because though Matt Olson seems like the biggest fish in this thing, if Adam can run this thing to the playoffs with Bednar and Gleyber at second base, this could be a win for him.
Could be. And this is a guy who started his season really, really ugly.
Oh,
4 straight losses to Cody, you, Costas, Henry, 14-6, 11-5, 11-7, 11-8. And then he just spawns with 4 wins in a row, 11-7, 11-9, 13-7, 11-8. Basically just putting himself right at 500. Then he ties me 10-10. Then he loses to Bobby 11-10. Then he wins against Brian 12-6, and then loses to Josh 10-8. Then he crushes Mike Haber 14-6. And then he loses 14-3 to Frank, like right after that huge win on Mike. So he's
Mhm.
just kind of like he's just doing this right now, and he's still in this thing somehow with 7.5 matchups left. He's definitely still in this. You can't count him out just yet.
No, no chance. I mean, he's peaked at eighth over. That was in week 13, despite the 4-game losing streak that started the season. He's been all over the map, but he has been competitive week to week. Don't forget, he drafted from an Islanders game
Yeah. Yep.
and took Ellie De La Cruz at 4, lost Corbin Burns for the season. And the combo of power that he's got on this team in Olsen, for until recently, Olsen, Rooker, Naylor, and Junior Caminero has been what I think has carried him.
Yeah, and I didn't know how great Junior Caminero was. He certainly didn't, you know, he's not someone that I even looked at going into this season based on his numbers from last year, but he's clearly the real deal. As far as how Adam's done against opponents, it's 9-4 in runs, 8-5 in doubles, 1-4 in triples with 9 ties, 7-6 in home runs with 1 tie, 7-5 in RBIs, 7-4 in stolen bases, 5-8 in walks, 5-9 in strikeouts for a batter, 5-7 in errors, 6-8 in average, 5-9 in on base percentage. That is not a lot of over 500s there, Joe. Not at
No,
all.
no, it's surprising honestly because this team seems to be offensively centered.
Yeah, and then you look at the pitching side: 8-6 in innings pitched, 7-6 in wins, 8-6 in losses, 3-7 in saves with 4 ties. I think we kind of knew that he didn't have that deep bullpen going into the year, so
Mhm.
there's no surprises there. 4-9 in home runs given up, 6-6 in walks given up, 7-7 in strikeouts, 8-6 in ERA, 7-7 in WHIP, 6-6 in relief appearances. That's three, 4 of those 10 stats are at 500. Walks given up, strikeouts, whip, and relief appearances. And then he's over 500 in innings by 2, wins by 1, losses by 2, and ERA by 2. Like the pitching seems to be keeping him in this thing.
Yeah, and yet it's Yusei Kikuchi, Carlos Rodon, Logan Allen. Like he seems to be streaming a lot of guys, and they seem to be paying off for him.
Yeah, and it's weird because his ERA is third from the bottom here. It's a 4.15 ERA against and the whip, it's also third from last, 1.29. So I don't know. Is it just who he happens to be facing that
It
he's
sounds like
he's
it.
yeah,
Sounds like
just
he's
because
playing to the matchup every week. You know.
yeah, yeah. The batting average is 250. The on base percentage is 322. That's not bad, actually. 250 is fourth from the bottom. Um, on base percentage is basically right in, no, it's technically fourth to last, but he's tied with Bobby with the same one. Actually, 3 guys have a 322 on base percentage. So I mean, it's a competable on base percentage, and I
Sure.
think 250 is basically a good enough batting average. He's very much at the top though with home runs. He's third in our league in home runs with 400 with 140 home runs. He's tied with second place Brian Lebo at the top of the league. So plenty of power coming from him. We
Mhm.
know last year he had a crazy doubles team. I just remember he had one of the best teams in doubles and walks last year. Not doing that much this year, but hitting for a ton of power.
No doubt. I hope he's got enough in the tank in order to push for the playoffs. It's going to be tough, but I feel like
Yeah,
he's in this thing.
he's in this thing, and it's in his grasp. I think the fact that he still does get to face Ari in this season. He does get to face Costas this season. Um, he's got a matchup against Jimmy. That's a guy he's playing for a playoff spot. He's facing Cody. He's facing you. He's got Henry. He's got Sherman. He's got Jason. Like, there are some wins in there. There's some
Mhm.
definite wins in there. They're all going to be competing hard against him. But he can do this, man. Like, I actually believe he can do this. I will say that I think, and maybe tell me if I'm wrong, if he takes Juan Soto instead of Ellie De La Cruz, which he did, would his season be much different?
Yes. Yes, it would be. And I think that speaks to what we were saying all preseason, that Ellie is a hand grenade in the early part of the first round. And here we are. You could have had Juan Soto instead of something like Ramon Laureano in right field right now.
Yeah. Um, right now he's still basically right in the. I was curious if like maybe those errors would hurt him for a while, but he's towards the bottom. It turns out that the team with the most errors this season is Jason Ashby with 50,
Hmm.
something we didn't talk about when we were bringing him up. And second to last is Mike Sherman with 47. Now,
Hmm.
the next one after that, so we got 50 and 47. The next one after that is 42. So that's a decent number. I mean, 5 errors difference between Mike Sherman and the next guy. So it goes to show that like defense, it's something that's still, and I know we were talking about Adam, but I'm just bringing it up here. Like defense is still pretty important for your team. I
Mhm.
remember last year when Frank moved Ellie De La Cruz, he basically said like, I'm done with all the strikeouts and the errors, and I could understand where he was coming from.
Yeah, and it wouldn't surprise me if Adam was hindered by the errors and strikeouts that Ellie brings to the table week to week going forward. Because if he's, relatively close to the bottom,
Yeah.
then this could end up hurting him quite a bit and could cost him a shot at the playoffs.
Sure. I mean, 5-7 with 2 ties and errors. Like he's
Mhm.
still under 500 in that category.
Yeah,
So you look at it, if that number is reversed and it's 7-5, that's another couple of stats and it gets them that much closer. Like you said, Joe, I think that this in week 22, we're going to have a really fascinating finish here where there's going to be a couple of teams playing for a couple of spots.
no doubt, no doubt. One of the teams that could be involved is our next manager, who to me has had the most disappointing season this year, is Bobby Russo. 98 moves on the season, no trades, 5 wins on the season only 5 wins out of 14 weeks, which I think is really surprising. He peaked at fifth after week one, and he's again playing to the middle in a lot of these matchups, which would indicate a 500 season. He's
Mhm.
500 with he's 5 under with 7 to play, and it makes him incredibly dangerous to crash this party late. What do you think?
Yes. Well, I think firstly, he's got to find a way to maybe go +2 on Chris Levy.
Mhm.
If he loses to Chris Levy, it's going to be tough to climb out of.
Mhm.
But the fact that he does have Chris and then he has Costas, let's say he goes +4, he wins something like 12-8 there, and he has me. Now, if I beat Costas, I've gone 11 straight without a loss. You'd have to think I'm due for one eventually. So I think anyone playing against me should be licking their chops and thinking like Ben can't continue this streak. So again, I think Bobby is going to be okay, provided that he gets through this Chris Levy and Costas match on the winning side. He can't go under 500 for those 2 matchups.
Right, right. In his draft, he took an unproven pair in Jackson Merrill and O'Neill Cruz in the first 4 rounds, and Garrett Crochet in his first year in Boston. I thought it was kind of risky.
I agree. I really don't know enough about Garrett Crochet. It's possible that Bobby's watched this guy and the eyeball test said this guy is nasty when he was on the White Sox. Also, him being a Yankees fan, it's like, you know what? Now this guy is on the Red Sox. I have a reason to root against him, but if he does well on my team, then good. I don't really, I don't. I don't draft guys that I don't know enough about. Jackson Merrill, to me, is never a guy that I would draft, just even looking how awesome his numbers are because he's way too new. I just can't trust new guys. And
Mhm.
Bobby has had the tendency to really build his team around young players. Specifically, I remember 2023 was a really young team, but that was a team that went to the playoffs. So you can't say that Bobby doesn't know what he's doing in the draft. You certainly know how he does when he makes his ads, how clever he is, and the way he delegates his 10 ads.
Mhm.
I think he's just run into some matchups that you're like, wait, he actually lost to Costas 13-8 in week 2? Like, that's a surprising one, right? 16-3 loss to Jimmy Dunlap. Um, it's that's a really ugly one. Other than that, he's hung around 500. He beat Josh 13-8. He beat Mike Haber 11-9. Um, he he beat Henry 13-5. So like he's found a way to get some clutch wins or just stay around 500 in a lot of these matchups. He's been really, really good on Sunday. I've been noticing on a way to just like find a way to grab a stat here and a grab a stat there. He's been really, really solid in that regard.
Mhm. I don't know if it's the hitting or the pitching that's carrying him. I think it's more on the hitting side with Kyle Tucker being the MVP candidate that he's been this year. It's just really solid, appearance from from Bobby. How is he doing in against opponents?
9-5 in runs, 5-9 in doubles, 4-4 in triples with 6 ties, 6-6 in home runs with 2 ties, 5-7 in RBIs, 8-6 in stolen bases, 10-4 in walks. That's probably well, that and runs are both +4. So 10-4 in walks, 4-9 in strikeouts by a batter, 8-4 in errors with 2 ties, 6-8 in average, and 7-7 in on base percentage. Basically over 500 everywhere. A couple that
Mhm.
is under, but like in general, he's been good against opponents offensively.
Yeah, sounds like it. How about on the pitching
As
side?
on the pitching side, it's 3-11 in innings pitched, 4-8 in wins, 7-5 in losses, kind of going back and forth there.
Mhm.
10-2 in saves, 10-2 with 2 ties, 8-4 in home runs given up, 6-8 in walks given up, 2-12 in Ks. So that kind of makes sense to me. If he's 3-11 in innings pitched and 2-12 in Ks, he's usually surrendering those stats.
Mhm.
7-7 in ERA, 6-8 in WHIP, and 9-5 in relief appearances. Pretty much a mixed bag, but pretty much what you would expect.
Right. He's inching to the minimum every single week, losing out on innings and strikeouts and
Yep.
doing well in everything else to keep himself competitive. It sounds like a very
Yes.
Bobby Russo type season. The
Yes.
the bullpen is what surprises me with the saves and the relief appearances. Robert
Yes.
Suarez has been lights out for him. Kirby Yates has gotten saves. Daniel Palencia has gotten saves. Kenley Jansen's gotten saves. So
Yep.
he's doing his thing and he's cleaning up in the bullpen.
Yeah, for sure. It's just that I don't know whether it's been the bullpen or the starting pitching for him, but he's fourth to from the bottom in ERA, 4.12. It's not terrible, man, but like just the fact that the top 10 teams are under 4 and he's in the 4.12, that might be part of the reason why he's having some issues here. And then
Mhm.
as far as WHIP goes, Bobby is dead last in WHIP with a 1.34. Second to last is Chris Levy with a 1.30. So
Yeah.
I don't know if we can point to anything there on the fact that his WHIP has been this disappointing, but his WHIP has been disappointing.
Yeah, and I would imagine the walks are what's contributing to that. How is he doing in walks?
Walks total for the season, he is right now. I mean, it's actually not bad. I'm leading one, two, three, four, fifth. He's sixth. He's
Hmm.
sixth in the league, 288.
Interesting.
So yeah, it's not really that, man. It just might be a lot of hits.
Yeah,
I
sounds
don't
like it.
know.
Sounds like it.
It's very unusual. Batting average, um, batting average, he is right now dead last, 245.
Yee,
Is the worst batting average in the league.
that's not good.
Um, So I don't exactly know why, but 322 in on base percentage, that's 12th in the league. It's not terrible.
No. I mean, Tucker's great. Merrill and Arozarena are not the greatest pieces in the outfield. Bryson Stott is an okay starter at second base. Jordan Westberg was injured for a period of time. Nick Kurtz and Nathaniel Lowe are his first baseman. These guys are serviceable, but it doesn't sound like it's an offense that really can kick it into gear like we've seen in the past from Bobby.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I mean, he's right in the middle of the pack as far as home runs go. He's got 126 bombs on the year. That's good for like eighth in our league. As far as RBIs go, he's on the bottom half, but 404 RBIs, it's something you can tolerate. You can
Mm-hmm.
definitely win enough with that. Doubles. So doubles, he's second to last. Last right now is Cody with 118, but Bobby is next with 126 doubles.
Hmm.
So that's one thing that I've noticed a little unusual, especially because we saw that he's doing pretty well in runs against opponents. However, he's right in the middle of the pack as far as runs go. So even like not getting as many doubles, then you have less guys that are that much closer to touching home plate. So that might be part of the issue here and why he's not a little bit higher in runs.
We'll have to see if Bobby can crash this party. I certainly hope so. The league is counting on him to be one of the party crashers here this year. We'll see who shakes out in the playoffs. Let's move to the next manager here, man. Let's talk about Henry Collins, who has 132 moves on the season. Two trades: Bryce Terang for Jung Hoo Lee. I'm calling it a win? Question mark.
Okay.
And he receives Mason Miller for Ketel Marte and Stephen Kwan. I'm calling that one a loss.
Okay.
What do you think?
Well, the Quan Marte for Mason Miller thing at the moment is a loss. I think that if he switches out Quan or Marte with Terang in that deal, and I think Terang was the guy he wanted to hold on to because of the stolen bases, that might have made the difference. But Mason Miller is another guy to complement his bullpen. And Henry is probably thinking, all I need to do is keep this thing close. I want to make my decisions easier on myself. I keep on benching big time stats. I have these log jams. Let me shed two hitters and get the bullpen guy. If I can get into the playoffs and I have a nasty punch with Clase and Mason Miller, I might win a playoff round this year.
Yeah.
So he was in first place this year at it for a moment, right? I
Mm-hmm.
mean, he had a solid he goes down quickly to Jimmy 10-9, but then he wins 13-7, 14-6, 11-8. He loses 13-8, 10-9. He ties 10-10, he ties 10-10, and then he goes 12-9, 15-4 on Chris Levy, and he's in first place after 9 weeks. I believe that's what happened. Um, now, um, he's he's on a free year basically as far as I'm concerned to come into this league in 2023 and make the playoffs 2 straight years. I said before the season started when we had this show, I said this. I mean the law of averages are against Henry to make the playoffs 3 years in a row, and then he started off so beautifully, and now lately it's kind of unfolded. But I I think that he's still in this thing. I think as long as he keeps things tight against Frank right now, and then he gets Jimmy, Cody, you, Adam, then Costas, Mike Sherman, and Jason Ashby to finish. Uh, it's in his grasp. He's facing guys that are either like under 500 or guys that he's battling for a playoff spot. He has enough pitching. He has enough bullpen.
Mm-hmm.
And you think he has enough offense, man? Like George Springer is having an awesome year. He's got Vladimir Guerrero. That Toronto Blue Jays team is really good this year.
Yeah.
Bryce Terang on the Brewers, like the Brewers are really hot right now. So, like, I think it's really just going to come down to if his opponents, poop the bed and he can get hot against certain opponents. Other than that, like, I don't I don't see a reason why he can't do this right now. He's been playing pretty smart, managerial game as far as like, I don't like this matchup. I like this matchup. And though sometimes it has blown up in his face, he benches Jason Dominguez and the guy has like 2 home runs, or he benches George Springer and he goes 4 for 5. Every single day, Henry makes a decision based on matchup. And he says, I like this matchup. I don't like this matchup. And sometimes he gets it right and sometimes he doesn't. But if you look at the first 2 seasons that, or if argue first 2.5 years that he's played this, he's made more good decisions than not.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he's just got to keep trusting his gut, man. And if it ends up um, being to his detriment, I don't think he can get on himself because like I think all of his plays so far have been extremely rational.
No doubt. No doubt. He's been great all season. He's run into some tough luck lately. Maybe it's just a slump and he'll break out of it. He's been in the playoffs hunt most of this year. Led with Vlad, Marte, Clase, Glasnow, and Freed in the first 5 rounds. Freed has been
Yeah.
fantastic for him. Clase has been everything he could have asked for, and Vlad has been great.
Yes.
Glasnow's been hurt. Marte got traded, so maybe we see some another shakeup on this team. I don't know, but I think that what's going to come down to it is whether or not he regrets this Mason Miller ad and the offense that took a hit from adding this piece.
Yeah, but again, at the time though, you got Clase, you want to add that extra piece. And now he has Strom also. If that guy ends
Mm-hmm.
up being like the regular closer, now you have Clase, Strom, Mason Miller. Like when you have a bullpen like that and you can win saves maybe every single matchup for the rest of the season, you fill in the Marte and the Quan with the other guys that you keep benching as a result, and they accumulate those stats. I mean, I think that Marte and Quan over the last 2 weeks have added like a 212 or a 222 batting average. Like it hasn't been that good over the last couple of weeks.
Okay.
So, although they probably have added some counting stats, I don't know if that's necessarily why Henry's been struggling. We would have to really narrow in on exactly what stats those guys have gotten and where he would be as a result. As far as how he's done against opponents, 7-7 in runs, 6-7 in doubles, 1-5 in triples with 8 ties, 6-8 in home runs, 6-8 in RBIs, 7-7 in stolen bases, 8-5 in walks, 10-3 in strikeouts, 4-9 in errors, 9-5 in error, and sorry, 9-5 in average, and 8-6 in on base percentage. So it looks like it's basically around 500 when you say like, okay, he's down 6-7 in doubles and 6-8 in home runs and 6-8 in RBIs, but he's up 9-5 in average and 8-6 in on base percentage. It's sort of like it kind of levels out.
Yeah. Yeah. How about on the pitching side?
On the pitching side, it looks like 7-7 in innings pitched, 5-7 in wins, 7-5 in losses, 7-7 in saves, 7-7 in home runs given up, 7-6 in walks given up, 5-9 in Ks, 6-8 in ERA, 5-9 in WHIP, and 9-5 in relief appearances. This all comes to a basically 500 team.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's a question of whether he can put this thing in gear in the right amount of time and get back into this playoff picture that he was a part of for almost the entire first half.
Mm-hmm.
He's only recently fallen under 500. He's 3 games under right now in ninth
Yeah.
place. He's
Yeah.
absolutely in this thing.
Oh yeah, with a third of a season left, 100%. Especially if let's say, okay, let's say he even loses to Frank here and the score is 11-9. Let's say it ends up 13-8. So that would put him, you said how many under 500 is he right
He's
now?
3 under currently.
Okay, so let's say he goes to 8 under, right? With a third of a season left, if he goes 6-1, he could just go in based on that.
Mm-hmm.
His ERA is 3.98. His WHIP is a little towards the bottom though at 1.26. Not ideal.
No.
His batting average on the season is right around the middle of the pack. It's 258. His on-base percentage is 342, and that's second best in the league.
There you go. Very nice. Very nice, Henry. A very nice
Yeah.
342 on base with Vlad and Springer and a lot more household names here. Vlad, Springer, Correa, Yelich, McCutcheon even chipping in where
Yeah.
he is, you know?
Yep. He's got this Dominguez, Trent Grisham thing,
Mm-hmm.
which I I like the strategy by Henry. I don't like the strategy by Aaron Boone because
Mm-hmm.
I feel like he's just like flip-flopping, moving the batting order around. He's got Goldschmidt batting at the top, and then he's got Grisham batting there. It seems like he can't really pick a batting order and go with it. And I don't think anyone's really getting used to it. Volpe does not seem like he's developing at the major league level. And I
Mm-hmm.
think as a result, like none of these guys are getting the pitches that they need to be successful because staffs know how to work around this lineup. The Yankees lineup has been, in my opinion, disappointing. I mean, you see them clobber and just like trounce teams, sure, like you'll see it for sure. But in general, like I guess I'm not watching the Yankees day to day to really know, but how many times has Aaron Boone stuck to the same lineup 2 days in a row?
I
You
don't
know, and
think
like
he does that. I think he listens to the analytics department and sets up the lineup that way.
well, I mean, as a result, I feel like a lot of these guys could be having better seasons, and I do understand that you need to get
Mm-hmm.
everybody playing time, and you need to give everybody rest. But these are, besides Goldschmidt, I, I think this is a fairly young team. Like Chisholm could be playing every single day and batting in the same spot every single day. Same thing with Bellinger. Obviously, same thing with Judge. But it just seems like Jason Dominguez is going to play. Okay, now Trent Grisham's way. Okay, now Bellinger has a day off. Now Goldschmidt has a day off. I get that guys need a breather, but I don't think that the Yankees have found a rhythm yet.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, let's hope that for his sake that he finds the rhythm to put it in gear here and get back into this picture. Let's move on to the next matchup, the next manager here, and we're going to talk about Jimmy Dunlap, who has named his team Mayday over Charleston or
Yep.
whatever it is this week. 131 moves on the season, no trades, 7 wins, and he peaked at sixth 3 different times this year. He did have the 16th pick in the first round, took Paul Skeens, Jackson Churio, Corey Seager, who's been disappointing, William Contreras, who's been disappointing, and Riley Green, who's been fantastic. Those were his
Yes.
first 5 rounds.
Yep. Um, to me, this team has really surprised us with what his pitching has done against opponents. I think he had a like what we would say a disappointing start to the season, and then he found a way to right the ship at the right time.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I'll take that back. Okay, it started 10-9, 10-7, then he lost 13-6, won 13-5, then lost 14-7 and lost 14-5. So over 6 weeks, that's when it's like, okay, how does he figure this out? And then he gets the big win on Bobby, 16-3, and then 11-9 on Lebo. He loses 10-8 to Josh, and then he loses 14-6 on the Mike Haber matchup, the one that's famous now, I guess, in our season as the team that just shut down on Wednesday or Thursday, whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Lost 15-5 to Frank, then won right back, like to lose 15-5 and then respond 15-4 on Costas. Then he loses 11-8 on Cody and then wins 13-5 against you. This has been a really interesting season for Jimmy. You really don't even know what to make of it. Like, what is dangerous about the actual roster? We know what's dangerous about the manager, but I maybe we can evaluate exactly why he's been as solid as he has.
The pitching is pretty good. I mean, we talked about it on the show. Paul Skeens, Chris Bubich, Edward Cabrera found a home on this team and is pitching well. Trevor Rogers has come up from the minors and he's pitching well for Baltimore. The bullpen does not have a set closer in it, but we know Jimmy day to day is going to manage his way to some wins in the relief appearances department. So
Yes.
he's mitigating the loss of not having any saves. I'm sure he's toward the
Right.
bottom in saves.
No, he's dead last, and he hasn't won that statistic once. We'll get into it after we get into the hitting here, but against opponents, 7-6 in runs with one tie, 8-5 in doubles, 3-5 in triples with six ties, 3-9 in home runs. He is not out slugging opponents here. 6-8 in RBIs, 4-7 in stolen bases, 7-7 in walks, 9-5 in Ks. 5-8 in errors with one tie, 7-7 in average, and 6-8 in on base.
Yeah, the offense is lacking here. It's Riley Green and not a whole lot else that's having a good season. Corey Seager's had a down year. Dansby Swanson is missing time because he's playing Corey Seager instead, and I don't blame him for that. But if you're playing somebody else in the utility spot and benching Dansby Swanson, I think that's a disservice to your team.
It's tough. It's really tough when you have Seager and Swanson and all these other guys that he needs to find a way to get in. A Brian Reynolds, and I think there have been a couple of guys that are having disappointing seasons, like a Brian Reynolds, that it's hard to just trust them and play them. And I think he's left a good amount of stats on the bench now, and where he stands in the standings, he probably could be higher up, man. But because of
Mm-hmm.
construction, because he's left a good amount of statistics on the bench, unfortunately, he probably could have been doing better. But I give him credit for like the fact that he has left a good amount of stats on the bench, that he still is very much in this thing.
Oh, no
Um,
doubt.
now it should be understood, even though he's not really slugging a good amount against his opponents, 3-9 in home runs and 6-8 in RBIs. Like, he's over 500 runs at 7-6. He's over 500 in doubles, 8-5. He's over 500 in strikeouts for batter, 9-5. 7-7 in average, 6-8 in on base. Like, he's hanging around in those
Mm-hmm.
stats against opponents. So like for for what you think is like just an average offense, I think he's making the most of it.
I think so too, and I think he's right in this hunt. He's right at 500 at 133 and 133 with 28 ties. He's right there. There's
Yeah.
no reason he can't put this thing in gear, get himself right back into the playoff picture. And this is a defending champion. He knows how to win this league.
Oh yeah. Now on the pitching side, it's 10-4 in innings pitched, 5-6 in wins, 4-5 in losses. So he's under 500 in wins and losses just by a little bit. 0-10 in saves with four ties. 6-7 in home runs given up, 7-7 in walks given up, 7-7 in Ks, 10-4 in ERA, 11-3 in WHIP, 8-5 in relief appearances. So clearly, this has been his strong suit. He's been able to win innings pitched while winning ERA and WHIP.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's testament to how he plays to the score.
No doubt. And again, going back to that starting pitching, it's Skeens, Bubich, Edward Cabrera, Trevor Rogers, Drew Rasmussen. Those guys have all been really good for him.
Yeah. It's just if I can just jump to the offensive side before we
Yeah.
talk about the pitching a little bit more. Second to last in batting average with a 246 average, and dead last in on base percentage with a 314 on base.
And yet he's still 500 in those categories against
Yes.
opponents. So
Yes. Yeah.
it speaks to how well he plays to the matchup. What about his
Yep.
ERA and WHIP?
His ERA, he's actually third from the top. A 345 ERA is tied for third. And then WHIP, he's fourth in the league as well with a 1.18.
That's pretty damn
So
good.
yeah, no, his pitching has been solid.
Yeah.
He's got a tricky schedule here, but I think it's actually to his benefit. He still gets to play some guys that have struggled this season. He's got Henry and then Mike Sherman, Jason, and then he gets Ari, Chris Levy, myself, and then Bobby. And that's how his season finishes. So I mean, there's a decent amount of wins there. This is a guy that I predicted to make the playoffs.
Mhm.
So if he's able to take care of business in these final 8 matchups, I think he's going to be okay.
I think he will too. I think we'll see exactly how he does in these final 8 matchups, but I think he's a very dangerous team if you see him on the schedule going forward. Speaking of dangerous teams, and this might be the surprise of the season, Brian Lebo is who we're going to talk about next. 120 moves on the season, no trades, 7 wins, and he's peaking right now in 7th place.
Mhm.
Fernando Tatis has been a great anchor to the season. Jazz, Snell, Tanner Scott, James Wood. Those were his first 5 picks. James Wood has been fantastic. He's been absolutely everything that we thought he would be. Um, Snell and Jazz have had their IL stints, and Tanner Scott is what we thought he was,
Mhm.
a volatile reliever that
Yes.
is on a really good team.
Mhm. Um, we we gotta mention this guy Jacob Wilson too. I mean,
Yeah.
this guy has been such a pivotal part of Brian's team because basically Brian's team has been built on offense this year. Like the team is just clicking offensively and just hits the crap against opponents. Maybe not on like the batting average side or the on base percentage side per se, but just like as far as slugging goes, firstly, his team is second in our league in home runs with 140 home runs. That's just under Josh, who has 141, and then he's right there at the top. He's third in RBIs with 454.
Yeah. Yeah, Augustine Ramirez has been a fantastic pickup. Alec Burleson is a beast in St. Louis. James Wood, Fernando Tatis, Eugenio Suarez. These guys are crushing it for Lebo.
Yeah, yeah. And his as far as against opponents in batting average, sorry, not batting average, in runs, 9-5, 5-9 in doubles, 2-6 in triples, 9-4 in home runs, 8-6 in RBIs, 6-6 with 2 ties and stolen bases. In walks, it's 6-7. In strikeouts, it's 7-7. Errors, 4-8. Not exactly a
Mm.
defensive team. 5-9 in average and 6-8 in on base percentage. That makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, he's basically pretty good on the power stats, on the runs, the home runs, the RBIs. But as far as average on base, maybe a little bit lacking.
Yeah, yeah, and that's what a power centric team is going to do. He's going to slug and he's going to sometimes get on base, but this is going to be homers and RBIs for the rest of the season.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. On the pitching side, 10-4 in innings pitched, 5-6 in wins with 3 ties, 7-6 in losses, 5-8 in saves, 7-6 in home runs given up, 7-6 in walks given up, 11-3 in strikeouts, 7-7 in ERA, 9-5 in WHIP, 4-10 in relief appearances.
Hey.
So he's basically dominating in the innings pitched and the strikeouts. And then he's hanging around in the home runs and the walks and losses. So I think he's done really, really well as far as playing to the score this year against opponents on Sundays.
No doubt, no doubt. Anchored by Hunter Brown and Sonny Gray, both really good starters for their respective teams, and complemented by guys like Brady Singer and Ryan Nelson and Nick Lodolo and Lucas Giolito. This is a pretty decent rotation.
Yeah. And the schedule, it's funny because like he started off with a tie against Chris Levy, and then he beat me 10-9, and then he beat Bobby 10-9. So okay, he's like 2 over 500 after 3 weeks. Then he gets rocked by Costas 15-6. He loses to Josh 11-8. So now, okay, all of a sudden he takes a little bit dip. Then he wins against Mike Haber 12-9, and he beats Frank 12-7. Now he's right back up there. Then he
Mhm.
loses 11-9 to Jimmy, a 9-9 tie to Cody, and then he beats you 11-9. Then he loses 12-6 to Adam. He takes an incredible matchup to a loss against Henry 11-10. I told him, dude, I think the schedule is going to start getting easier for you. I think after Henry, you should be okay. You got Sherman, you got Jason, you got Ari, you got Chris, there's some wins in there, and all of a sudden, bam, a 15-6 win over Mike Sherman, an 11-8 over Jason. He's holding a 12-7 lead over Ari before he plays Chris Levy. He still has Costas on the schedule.
Mhm.
I mean, this could be it, man. Like we still haven't talked about Frank. We mentioned before the season started there were four managers in particular where there was the most pressure on them. It was Brian Lebo, Jason Ashby, Costas Paragas, and Frank Bucco. Those four guys. And although Costas is having a tough season and Jason is still he's climbing, um, Brian and Frank, they have done what they were supposed to do this season. And I'm really, really happy to see it. Brian, he's one of those guys in the last couple of years. It's come apart on him early in the season, 2023 and last year. 2022, I think, as well, was a tough one. 2021 was the only one where we kind of saw him start to rise until towards the end. So this is finally like the team is peaking at the right time. He's got a favorable schedule. It's basically in front of him. Like he can do this.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he can break through this year. I think there's going to be at least one wild card team that we haven't seen in a while in the playoffs this year. It could be Frank, it could be Brian, it could be somebody else who comes up from out of nowhere. There's a big glom here, and Brian has found himself right in the middle of it for most of this season. And it's a testament to how well he's done and how well he drafted. He drafted pretty
Yes.
damn well this year.
Yes. Yeah. And he's found a way to like grab some solid free agencies that helped him along the way too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right, let's talk about Frank Bucco here, my friend, because this is a guy that has impressed this year. 106 moves on the season and has maxed out his trades, all six of them. Eduardo Rodriguez for Dylan Lee was a waste. Jung Hoo Lee for Bryce Terang was a waste? Question mark.
Oh yeah, we have to wait to see how that final one does.
Exactly. Exactly. Receives Kevin Gossman for Xavier Edwards from Cody. I'm calling that one a win. Receives Ian Happ and Nick Castellanos from Jordan Alvarez. That's a big win off of Cody. Receives Matt Olson, Sadon Rafaela, and Matt McLean for David Bednar and Glaber Torres to be determined. And the final one with Jason receives Willie Adamas, Nick Pivetta, and Shohei Otani pitcher for Seth Halverson, Jung Hoo Lee, and Jeremy Pena to be determined.
Hmm.
He's got 6 wins on the season. He's peaking right now in 6th place in the playoff picture right now. What do you think? Is he going to crash the party?
Wow, that's a good question. I mean, I think he's already in that position where he doesn't really have to worry about really threatening managers. That's not saying that he's got a cookie the rest of the way, but um, I mean, you said he has 6 wins on the season and he's
Yep.
played 14 matchups. So he's in 6th place with only 6 wins somehow. And he's taken a 17-3 loss and a 14-7 loss in there. It's actually incredible when you think about where he is based on a couple of the missteps that he's had. Through for the rest of the season, he's got Henry for the rest of this week, and then he gets Sherman, Jason, Ari, Chris Levy, myself, Bobby, and Brian Lebo. It's really going to be those last 3 matchups, I think, where his season is made
Mm-hmm.
against me, Bobby, and Brian Lebo. Because, I mean, if this Henry one is basically around 500, Jason tends to play Frank pretty well. So we're going to see how that goes. For whatever reason, I don't know why, but Frank has had a lot of difficulty against Ari and Mike
Yep.
Sherman. He
Yep.
went 9-9 against Ari this year, and in week 1 he lost 14-7 against Sherman. So if Frank wants to get in this year, he can't lose or tie to those two managers because those are the two guys hit them. And Chris Levy right now, those are the 3 guys you can ill afford to take a big loss against, let alone even lose.
Yeah.
I think those are guys that you really have to win, at least like a +2. So we're gonna have to see, man. I think his team is definitely built for it. He's made some savvy deals. I almost wish that he had one more trade in his back pocket. If he sees that he has some sort of deficiency that he needs to fix, he won't be able to do that via trade. He'll be only be able to do that through free agency and the waiver wire.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's a favorable schedule. I think he's played really well to the score. I think he's had some really excellent wins against some managers he needed to beat. He needed to beat Costas Good. He beat him 15-5. He didn't even necessarily win against Jimmy, but he beat him 15-5. He only lost to Cody 11-7. He only lost to you 12-9. And then he crushed Adam 14-3. That might have been the season changer. Because if that's something like something like 10-8 instead of 14-3, we're having a very different
Oh
conversation
yeah.
right now. The fact that he had a big crushing win against Adam, pushing him down in the standings, and Frank goes very high up in the standings, that's a big difference in one guy that's not competing for that last spot in Adam anymore. So I give Frank a lot of credit for the way he was able to get through a tough part of the schedule. Um, he lost to me 17-3, but sure, then he beats Bobby 10-9. He loses to Lebo 12-7. He loses to Josh Haber 15-4. He loses to Mike Haber 10-8. These aren't pretty, but they're the losses you expect. And
Mm-hmm.
then 15-5 win, 15-5 win, 11-7 loss, 12-9 loss, 14-3 win, and he's leaving 11-9. It's weird. Like, it's a really weird season when you look at it. And you said 6 wins on the season, but he's doing this well. It's shocking. It's actually surprising.
Mm-hmm.
But give him a lot of credit right now because he's found a way to hang in there. For against his opponents, 7-7 in runs, 6-6 in doubles, 7-2 in triples with 5 ties, 6-7 in home runs, 8-6 in RBIs, 5-7 in stolen bases, 7-6 in walks, 8-6 in strikeouts, 5-5 in errors, 9-5 in average, and 10-4 in on base percentage. So hovering around 500 in most of these stats, but +4 and +6 in average and on base percentage. That's what first stands out to me.
No doubt. The offense is, in fact, what's been carrying him, it looks like. He's got a really nice offense with that pairing of Real Muto and Diaz. I seem to watch him play matchups time and time again. I think he's got Real Muto in for the majority of the time. It'd be it'd be nice for him to be able to move Yainer Diaz at this point, but again, he's out of trades.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Trout is on this team. Willie Adames is now on this team. Alex Bregman is off of the IL and starting at third base for him. He was fantastic until the
Mm-hmm.
injury. This offense is going to carry him. Let's hope that it continues to go the way it has because I don't know that I really believe in pieces like Zach McKinstry.
I don't know either. It's just that he plays a tons of positions, so he can
Mm-hmm.
kind of find a way to stick him in. And the Tigers are having such a good year that he'll collect stats just being in that lineup, I guess. Um, he's basically right in the middle in batting average, 259 average. That's nice. It's good for 7th in our league. And on base percentage, he's 332, kind of around the middle also.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so my mistake. He's 6th in batting average with 259. But
Nice.
um, yeah, there's nothing really that stands out like as him being like a major leader in anything, right? So
Mm-hmm.
um, it's interesting the way he's managed to get through it, kind of being in the middle of the pack with everything: walks, RBIs, home runs, um, doubles, runs there. There's literally nothing that he's like on top of the league and on the offensive side. On the pitching side,
I feel
go
like we
ahead.
might see some of that on the pitching side because with Zach Wheeler, Kevin Gossman, and Chris Sale as his 3 that were going for most of this season, I feel like we're going to see some good things on this pitching side.
Well, as far as against opponents, it's 4-10 in innings pitched,
Hmm.
5-4 in wins, 3-9 in losses, 4-8 in saves, 7-6 in home runs given up, 8-6 in walks given up, 6-8 in strikeouts, 6-8 in ERA, but 8-6 in WHIP, and 7-6 in relief appearances. I mean, we're basically
Yeah,
talking about around 500.
yeah.
3-9 in losses, like we said. 4-8 in saves, even though he started with a big bullpen. 4-10 in innings pitched. Like, yeah, it's not what you would think. It's basically under 500. It just happens to be that he's able to win big against certain opponents. His
Mhm.
ERA is currently standing fifth from the bottom at a 4.02. His whip is right in the middle of the pack. It looks like a 10th in the league with a 1.26. Um, towards the middle in relief appearances, towards the middle in innings pitched. There's really nothing, Joe. There's
Yeah.
nothing really that stands out.
Yeah, I mean he's 4 over. It's is it circumstance that has him in the sixth spot right now? Is that what you're
I
thinking?
I think so. I think so. I think it's just getting when he's gotten wins, he's gotten some big wins. Like that one against Adam was really enormous. And I think that's the only thing that I can look at and point to that he's just gotten the big win at the right time. Otherwise, we're looking at basically a 500 team in all aspects. I think
Yeah.
it's a solid group. Like I think he's built a pretty solid offense specifically. Like I really love his offense, and it's hard to say what the team is because it keeps changing. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like Rafael has only been on this team now for about 3 matchups. Olson's only been on the team for about 3 matchups. Jung Ho Lee was on the team for like 5 or 6 matchups, and now he's not on the team anymore. So it's hard for me to evaluate what's good and what's not when not many of these guys have stuck around. JT Real Muto, that's a guy that's been there basically the whole year. Maybe one or two other guys, but everybody else has disappeared. Jordan Alvarez not on the team anymore, right? Like
Mhm.
Ian Happ is not, and Castellanos only came onto the team after week 5.
5? Yeah.
No, after week 5. So like there's the team hasn't really been identified with a specific identity yet.
Yeah.
Now there's no other option. He can't trade anymore. So this is the team basically. And I guess we're just gonna find out what it is in the final third of the season.
No doubt. No doubt. Do me a favor. Save that Mets.
Whoa.
I saw it
Yep, there we
losing
go.
it.
Yep, good catch. There we go.
All right. Let's dive into my team, buddy. Let's talk about me. 132 moves on the season. No trades. No trades on the season. 7 wins, and I peaked in second place 3 different times this year. Just couldn't put myself in first yet. Mookie, Freddie, Michael Harris, Acuna, and Ozuna were my first 5 picks. So it was Dodgers and Braves heavy. I will never own Michael Harris again. Ozuna has a hip thing that I think is stopping him from being as good as he can be in the second half. Pitching has been my problem all year because I kind of neglected it in the draft. So it'll be interesting to see where I line up with things against my opponents. I haven't looked at that at all. I've left that to you. So let's
Uh-huh.
talk about it. What do you think of my team so far this year?
I think listen, when the draft was over, it was Bobby that said that you had the best team in our league. And I could see what he means on paper when you look at the players themselves. I always felt that the strategy that you have gone with since 2022 of trying to put as many guys from one particular team that you believe in on your team it has its benefits, but it's such a risk, man, if a team goes into a team slump.
Mm-hmm.
And this year you actually did it a little bit differently, where you actually picked 2 teams. You picked the Braves and the Dodgers, and you picked all the good players from those teams. It's just we've seen that the Braves are having a really tough season this year, and I think as a result, your team has struggled from it. Still an over 500 team. I still like the pitching. Um, I think you've done great managing the bullpen. I think you've done incredibly as far as like, I like this starter for today, and you use them and then you lose them. And I
Mm-hmm.
think you've done really well in that regard. And I think that's why you're hanging in this thing. Um, I, I I don't know, man. I think because you've got the schedule in your favor, I still think you're going to be okay. But if like the Dodgers or the Braves go through a team slump specifically at the same time, that could be scary for you.
Yeah, I certainly am concerned. I hope the Braves put together a better second half, but I didn't believe that they would be a 10 or 12 under 500 team this year. I thought it would be a three-team race in the East, and we're just not seeing that.
Yeah.
And that's been to my detriment. How am I doing against opponents, buddy?
Well, on the offensive side, it's really it's basically good. It's basically good. 7-7 in runs, 5-9 in doubles, 4-3 in triples, 9-4 in home runs, 8-5 in RBIs, 3-10 in steals, 11-3 in walks, 8-6 in strikeouts, 7-5 in errors, 5-9 in average, and 7-7 in on base percentage. So for the most part, over 500, right?
Yeah,
Doubles is a little lacking and stolen bases are lacking, but whatever. You didn't pick a fast team. That's okay.
yeah, yeah. That's pretty much what it was. It was Michael Harris to be my steal source, and he's been terrible.
Hmm. Yeah, and he's only one guy,
Yeah,
so
him and Tommy Edmond were supposed to steal me bags. That's not working.
yeah, no, it's not going to do it. 136 home runs overall. That has you in fourth in the entire league. In RBIs, you are significantly at the top of this league. 472 RBIs total. Second is Mike Haber with 456. 472 to 456. It's a significant difference between first and second. So as far as driving them home, you are right at the top by a significant amount. Um, as far as your batting average, though, it's really in the middle here with a 252 average. It's basically like ninth, and then an on base percentage, you're right at the top here, fourth, 338. Pretty
Okay.
good.
Yeah,
Pretty
that's
good.
how I build my team. It's around walks and on base percentage, and I'm going to mash the ball as much as possible.
Mhm. And as far as walks go, you're second in the league. Henry is number one in walks right now with 371. You're at 362, only nine behind Henry.
Okay.
But Henry's 371. You're 362. Third place is Chris Levy with 329. So 362 to 329, that's a pretty big jump from second to third. So it seems that that's something that you and Henry have really benefited from, the amount of walks you guys have been able to consistently get. I know with you, it's been a mixture of quite a different guy, a couple of different guys. Where Henry, he has Herdomo, the character on the
The
Arizona
Diamondbacks?
Diamondbacks.
Hmm.
Yeah, that guy's drawn a lot of walks. So yeah, it's good roster construction. It'll keep you in this.
No doubt. What about the pitching side? Because
And the pitching,
that's where I really think my detriment has been this year.
yeah, you'd be surprised though. It's not as bad as you think. 8-6 in innings pitched, 10-2 in wins, 7-5 in losses, 3-8 in saves with three ties, 6-7 in home runs given up, 5-8 in walks given up, 7-7 in strikeouts, 8-6 in ERA, but 6-8 in WHIP, 7-6 in relief appearances. Sort
That's
of in the
pretty good.
middle, Joe. It's not terrible, man. You want to say, okay, fine, he's a little under 500 and walks and home runs given up, but not to the point where you're like, uh-oh, 6-7 and 5-8. Like the fact that you're 10-2 in wins and you're 8-6 in innings pitched, you're at 500 in strikeouts, 8-6 in ERA, but 6-8 in WHIP, and you're over 500 in relief appearances. Is basically like a mixed bag, man.
Yeah.
I don't see anything that's been a real issue. I just think you've run into a couple of hot teams at the wrong time.
Okay.
Um, your
That makes me feel a little bit
ERA,
better about the outcome of this season.
oh yeah, your ERA is 3.77. It's right in the middle there. 1.29 is fourth from the bottom. So I guess, yeah, if you want to say maybe the whip could be a little bit better, but like yours is 129, and then ahead of you is a 127, three 126s, a 125. It's really, it's not even like a large enough amount to even like really take a look and say like, whoa, what's going on here?
Yes. I have one good week, and all of a sudden I'm 6 spots higher. It seems like.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
You're fourth in the league in wins with 66 wins. Um, you're right in the middle as well. You're actually one, two, three, four, fifth best in losses with only 53. So like, I think you're playing to the score fine. I think you're playing the game fine. I think it's just like, and how many over 500 are you right now?
10.
10. So no, you can't really look at this team right now and say like this is a glaring issue. I would say if I had to say where you're going to have issues is one in the playoffs with no closers is going to be
Mhm.
extremely tough. And just the fact that if one of these two teams between the Braves and the Dodgers have a cold week, I don't know how exactly you can recover from that because you're not going to not play the guys when they're cold.
Exactly. No, I have to play these guys. This is how the team is constructed. So it's going to happen. Uh, I'm just hoping to make the playoffs, man. I just want to make it an even dozen in a row and then see where I'm at because once we make the playoffs, it's a crapshoot.
Yep. And what are you going to go in for 10 straight to the semifinals? Let's say 17,
9
18,
straight.
19, 20. 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Yeah, it would be 9 straight to the semifinals. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what's more impressive, 12 straight to the playoffs or 9 straight to the semifinals.
I don't know. At some point, it's gonna end, right? Like it's gotta. The streak has to, as Michael Cole
Sure.
would say, the streak has to end at some point. So
Sure. But I mean, until it does, who's to say it will ever end?
it's true.
The way it finishes for you now, it's a little bit of a deficit here with Cody at 13-7, but with three um, 3 long days left this weekend, maybe you grab a couple back, and then it's Costas, Adam, Henry, Mike Sherman, Jason, Ari, Chris Levy. I mean, that's as solid as you can ask for as far as guys that you think that you could get a couple of extra stats against.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Henry is going to be tough. I think Jason is going to be tough, and maybe Adam could play you tough. But I would say it starts with let's see what Costas can do after he plays against me because like you Costas's team is no joke, man. Like you see that he's having a tough season, but again, I'll say that that team is a pain in the butt. So like
Oh yeah.
if I end up beating him pretty good, that makes me concerned for you because like that means maybe he just turns it around. Otani has like 5 home runs in a week, and the fact that Costas has Teoscar and Otani to match up with your Dodgers guys, they
Mm-hmm.
kind of wash each other out, and it'll be tricky, man. But I actually do believe in you to pull this off.
All right. I appreciate that, man. I can't say I'm rooting against myself. That's not the truth at all. But
No.
what I will say is that if this is the season where I fall out, I'm gonna feel very justified because this glom has been so competitive all year long. To see one or two teams bubble up and take a spot away from someone like me would be incredible. It would be an incredible
Yeah.
story.
Yes. I think that's the perfect adjective, man. It would be incredible. It's something that's unexpected. I think, especially in a season like this, where like Chris Levy replaced Jay Ferraro and Ari playing that same strategy. There's still a lot of development needed from several managers that are going to get better in years to come. I would have thought that this would be a season that's basically like we can kind of pencil in Joe to be in the playoffs. And the fact that you haven't run away with this, the fact that you still have to ground out these last 7.5 matchups, I think that's good for the league.
Absolutely. I agree. All right, let's move to one of the Haber brothers because we're going to talk about them back to back as they sit back to back in the standings. First, Mike. He has made 80 moves this year and one trade with his brother. He received Nico Horner and Jack Leiter for Ben Rice and Jonathan India. I'm calling that a wash.
Okay.
7 wins on the season for Mike, and he led the league after week one. That was his high water mark on the season. Bobby Witt, Manny Machado, Pete Alonso, Ryan Walker, and Felix Bautista. Those were his first 5 picks. Interesting
Hmm.
choices.
Nice.
Pete Alonso's having a great year. Bobby Witt's having a great year. Manny Machado's having another Manny Machado year. Ryan Walker has fallen on his face, and Felix Bautista is on a bad team. So the two bullpen anchors were not correct this year.
Okay.
And the biggest pick is Pete Crow Armstrong in the 7th round. He's absolutely ridiculous this year.
That's just something that completely bothers me, man. I don't think I certainly didn't think that this guy would develop this quickly. I thought, like another Jared Kalenic,
Mm-hmm.
that's basically, and the fact that we trade him for Javier Baez in 2022, who we don't retain, thank goodness, but just to now see the success of this guy who's starting in the All-Star game now, that's a big punch in the you know what, man.
Yeah, absolutely. He should be our starting center fielder, not Tyrone Taylor. How's he doing against opponents?
Well, on the offensive side, it's 8-6 in runs, 9-4 in doubles with one tie, 5-3 in triples with six ties, 5-7 in home runs, 7-6 in RBIs, 8-5 in stolen bases, 4-9 in walks, 6-8 in strikeouts, 7-5 in errors, 6-8 in average, and 6-8 in on base percentage. Sort of in the middle of the pack. Some things that he's substantially higher in, like doubles. But I mean, he's when you look at the fact that walks, he's 5 under against his
Mm-hmm.
opponents, strikeouts 2 under, average 2 under, on base 2 under. Like it's not like this is not like the Mike Haber teams that's squashing their opponents in the offensive category so far.
Right. I think the pitching is a little less than what we would have expected from a Mike Haber team this year. It's Robbie Ray and Jesus Luzardo and Brandon Woodruff right now. He's got Shane McClanahan and Zebby Matthews on the IL that are coming back. And the bullpen is good. It's got a couple of closers and a lot of San Francisco guys.
Yeah, I mean, you those aren't a ton of household names, man. It's just it
No,
doesn't seem like it's that really pungent group of players that you're like scared to play a Mike Haber team. You're scared to play Mike Haber team because it's Mike Haber, not necessarily because the players on his team. On the pitching side against opponents, it's 4-10 in innings pitched, 2-9 in wins, 6-6 in losses, 12-2 in saves. So we know the bullpen's nasty. Home runs given up is 10-4. Walks is 8-6. Strikeouts 7-7. ERA 8-6. Whip 7-7. Relief appearances 12-2. So saves and relief appearances 12-2. Everything else
about
around
500.
500, and innings pitched is 4-10, and wins it's 2-9. So that's 6 under and 7 under with his 210 overs. So like when you look at it on the whole, it's not like a glaring dangerous pitching staff. It's a nasty bullpen to deal with, but it's like a tolerable offense and it's a tolerable pitching staff. It's something that you're not as scared of as you have been in previous years. That doesn't mean he's not going to make the playoffs. That doesn't mean he's not going to thump you out 14-4 in a week. It
No
just means
doubt.
that right now there's nothing really that's standing out as extremely lethal in this entire group. As far as batting average, he's fifth in our league. I mean, how often is he only fifth in the league? It's a 263 average. It's very good, but it's
Mm-hmm.
not really what you'd expect. As far as his on base percentage, 328. That's eighth in our league in on base percentage. In home runs, he's sixth in our league with 127.
Mm-hmm.
Right, like we always remember these Mike Haber teams to be like at the top. Now in RBIs, he is second to you. We said you're at 472. He's 456. So I will say, as far as driving in runs, he's right at the top. But even runs, he's fourth in the league, 451. That's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, ERA, not really, not really standing out necessarily. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, sixth in the league in ERA with a 373. In WHIP, he's fifth from the bottom in WHIP with a 127 WHIP.
Hmm. I mean, he's 20 games over 500 right now, roughly, and it looks like a pretty safe bet to make the playoffs. I don't know if this is a championship team, but anything can happen over the next 7 weeks that'll put him in gear. I mean, if he gets a hot streak from one of his hitters or a pitcher that's just going lights out.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, as far as them being a championship team or not, like a lot of that to me always is like, well, firstly, who are the two teams that get the bye? Because
Mhm.
whoever those two teams are, they only need to win two matchups, and that could be anybody. Anyone can win two matchups. So I think at this point, like for Mike, not having to have three matchups in the playoffs, it will be important for him. Now, when Mike has won his championships, he has never had to play three in a row and win it. He's gotten to the finals that way, right? But like we haven't ever seen him have to win three matchups in the playoffs. So
Mhm.
that'll be very interesting if he ends up getting 3 through 6 to see if he can actually climb the ladder that way. For the rest of his schedule, right now he's leading Mike Sherman 10-8. Then he's got Jason, Ari, then he's got Chris Levy, then me, then Bobby, Brian Lebo, and then he finishes it off with his brother, Josh Haber. Kind of a mixed bag. I mean, he does get to play Chris Levy. He does get to play Ari, who he lost to. You wouldn't think
Mhm.
that he loses to Ari
Twice in a season. That would be
twice in a
amazing.
season. Shocking if that
Yeah.
happens. I don't see it. I expect him to finish this against Mike Sherman here. Jason always plays Mike Haber tough, even though he beat Jason 14-4. Jason's playing with a much different team now.
Mhm.
We'll see how that goes. Yeah, I tend to agree that Mike is probably in the playoffs looking at the schedule, but he can't just like sleepwalk through it. Like he needs to finish here.
No doubt. No doubt. Speaking of finishing, let's talk about Cody Pyatt, who needs to finish this thing out. He had 114 moves on the season, 3 trades. He gets Xavier Edwards from Frank for Kevin Gossman. I'm calling that a loss. He receives Michael King and Devin Williams for Trey Turner. I'm calling that a loss. And he receives Jordan Alvarez for Ian Happ and Nick Castellanos. I'm calling that a loss. And had he gotten this Austin Riley deal that he had, he would have immediately gone on the IL anyway. So that would have been a loss. Very interesting on the trades this year.
Yes, yes, and he's been savvy in trying to like change up the team and make it better. But yeah, so far that hasn't worked out. But has it really mattered so much? I mean, the
Mm-hmm.
guy has really cruised as far as his schedule, and then how about the streak that the guy is on? He hasn't lost in 1, 2, 3, 4,
7.
5, 6, 7 weeks without a loss since he played against me. So the dude's on cruise control. He's he's winning tight matchups here. He's only had really one big win, and that was against, take it back. He won big against Adam in week 1, 14-6, and then he beat Ari in week 5, 15-4, after
Mhm.
taking a big loss to Jason 15-4. But other than that, like through this streak, it's 12-7, 9-9, 10-8, 12-7, 11-7, 11-8, 11-8, 13-7 against you. That's not even an official score yet. So just finding a way to grab a stat here, grab a stat there, and find a way to grab the win. And I think that's been really beneficial towards him. He's played a really savvy season.
No doubt. I tend to agree. The trades notwithstanding, he's currently peaking at the highest point in the standings that he's been all year in third place. 8 wins on the season and that current on 7 game unbeaten streak. The draft looked pretty nice. It was Jose Ramirez, who's having a great season again. Trey Turner, who was traded. Ozzy Albies, who was dropped outright for Colt Keith recently, that I found very interesting. Wyatt Langford, who seems to be a 2020 lock. He's got 16 homers and I think 20 steals already. So I think he's pretty much a lock for 2020. And Yohan Duran, who's been filthy on the back end of the Twins pen. So it's a really balanced start to the draft. I wonder where he stands against opponents.
Okay, so believe it or not, as far as the offense, it's not as exciting to look at as the pitching. So we'll get into the offense first. It's 3-10 in runs, 3-10 in runs,
Mm.
4-9 in doubles, 3-3 in triples with 8 ties, 8-5 in home runs, 6-7 in RBIs, 8-4 in stolen bases, 8-6 in walks, 6-8 in strikeouts, 6-5 in errors, 7-7 average, and 8-6 in on base percentage. It's more over than under, but I mean 3-10 in runs, 4-9 in doubles, 6-7 in
Mhm.
RBIs. 6 and 8 in strikeouts. So like basically a mixed bag, but as you can see, 8 and 4 in stolen bases, which I find what's weird is like 8 and 4 in stolen bases, but 3 and 10 in runs. You got all those guys on second base, but you're still typically not getting them home, probably. To be
Mm-hmm.
3 and 10 in runs. So I would say when we look at these numbers, we'd say, well, it's more down than up, but it's basically right in the middle here.
Yeah.
Um, and that kind of might play off on like his record is also like, well, he's not winning in general by like these really large amounts. They're like 11-7, 11-8, 12-7, something like that. It's the pitching where you're like, oh, okay, 8 and 6 in innings pitch, 8 and 1 in wins with 5
Wow.
ties, 7 over 500 in wins, 6 and 4 in losses, 3 and 8 in saves, 9 and 4 in home runs given up, 10 and 4 in walks given up, 7 and 7 in strikeouts, 10 and 4 in ERA, 9 and 5 in WHIP, and 5 and 9 in relief appearances. So yeah, like there are a couple of under 500 things, but when you look at what he's dominating opponents more, it's more on the pitching side.
Hmm. I wouldn't have thought that with a team constructed with Cal Raleigh and Jose Ramirez and the nice Red Sox pieces he's had moving in and out of this roster. I thought it would be a lot more of the offense that was carrying him, but it's a testament to his managerial skills.
Yeah, what I will say about that though is he is second in the league in batting average with a 264 batting average, just under Chris Levy in that regard. Chris Levy leads the league in average and on base percentage
That's
with
amazing.
265 and a 344. Um, and Cody here is fifth in the league in on base percentage with a 337 on base percentage. Um, towards towards the middle in home runs, towards the middle and towards I guess towards the end in RBIs. Um, yeah, it's just on right towards the middle in runs here. No, I'm sorry, runs he's third from the bottom with 410.
Hmm.
Um, but in general, like there's nothing besides batting average that he's really like jumping out and kicking ass in, you know?
Right, right. And I guess that speaks to Xavier Edwards being his middle infielder there for the season. He's got a really high batting average. I guess Wyatt Langford is also counted in that. Cam Smith is having a nice year. These guys are carrying him along, but it
Yeah.
really is the pitching that's doing it for him.
It is, man. He's fourth in the league in ERA with a 345 ERA, and in WHIP, second in our entire league with a 1.16. Um, he's at the
Impressive.
top with he's at the top with wins. Chris Levy leading our league in wins with 69, and
Nice,
Cody has 60. Cody has 67. He's second.
nice.
So yeah, this makes sense. It's really his pitching that's really stood out.
20 over 500 looks like he's also on his way to a playoff berth. What does the rest of his schedule look like?
Well, and by the way, I have to agree with you. I think out of all the teams that we've talked about so far, for me, I think Cody is one of these guys that I could kind of pencil into a playoff spot. Not put it in pen, but I'll put it in pencil right now. After you, then it's Adam, Henry, Mike Sherman, Jason, Ari, Chris Levy, and then him and I finish against each other.
Mm.
So, I mean, if he could really take care of business against Sherman, Ari, and Chris Levy, with a Jason Ashby in the middle, maybe he can surrender a loss there. He should be in pretty good shape, and dare I say that he grabs one of the first two spots.
It'd be interesting if the two of you were playing in week 22 for seeding. That would be quite the showdown.
Yep,
And if it's for both of the buys and it's the one and the
sure.
two, that would be ridiculous.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I wonder if at that point, like one of us will just be thinking like, I don't really care who I play. I just need to find a way to just get enough stats to get in, or the other one's thinking like, well, I really need the buy, so I'm going to play my ass off this week. It's possible that both of us will both have a secured playoff spot at that point, and like you said, playing for seeding. But
Mhm.
I'm hoping that at that point, I know where I stand. Like, no one in week 22 wants to be like sweating out those last 7 days. You want to know, like, okay, at least I'm in, and
Yeah.
I think I have a feeling that that's what it's going to be.
It's going to be really interesting between the two of you, but there's going to be some hearts broken in week 22, man. I am not looking forward to it.
Yeah, more than two hearts broken this year.
No doubt. All right, let's get to the penultimate manager here. It is Josh Haber, who has 117 moves on the season, 4 trades this year. He received Josh Bell for Randall Grichuk. What?
Yeah, it turned out to be a nothing. You can get any of them on free agency. Go for it.
Go for it. He receives Framber Valdez, Matt Shaw, and Francisco Alvarez for Nick Pivetta, Brendan Donovan, and Ivan Herrera. I'm calling that a win. Receives Ben Rice and Jonathan India for Nico Horner and Jack Leiter. I'm calling that a wash.
Yeah, I
And
mean, India is someone you could have found in free agency right now. So,
yeah,
like, I don't even know what to make of that deal.
yeah. And he finished it off Brendan Donovan for Brandon Lau and Garrett Whitlock to be determined.
Yeah, I mean, Brandon Lau's on the IL right now, so I
Yeah.
don't think Jason's loving that deal right now.
No, I don't think so, but we'll see what happens in the coming weeks. We have to wait for him to come back. He might be back right after the All-Star break. So
Okay.
9 wins on the season for Josh. That's the most of any manager that we've talked about so far. And he's led the league on 3 separate occasions. His first 5 picks in the draft: Juan Soto, great season; Altuve, another great season; Schwarber has 30 homers; Andres Munoz, who's having a great year in Seattle; and Ryan Presley, who sucks.
Hmm.
But
Yeah,
otherwise, it
he's
was a
not
good
even on
start.
his team. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think it's a very, very good team. And with the trades included, I think he's put together another group that I think can definitely go to the playoffs again. It's right in front of him. For Josh to now, this would be 3 straight years to the playoffs and
Mm-hmm.
4 out of 5 seasons. Like, talk about Josh Haber doing this on the regular right now. It's just so awesome. And it's weird that he's gone to one of these teams. And I know we've talked about this to exhaustion, but like Josh was always the team that we were just like, and that's the guy that we can beat up this season. And it's just not that way anymore, man.
No, it's not. He has certainly turned himself into one of the premier teams in the league over the last couple of years, including a championship last year. Let's not forget he is defending this championship by being 45 games over 500
Jeez,
and in
man.
second
Yeah.
place. Yeah. How's he done against opponents? I would imagine it's going to be quite good.
9-4 in runs, 6-5 in doubles, 3-6 in triples, 9-4 in home runs, 8-6 in RBI, 6-7 in steals, 7-6 in walks, 4-10 in Ks, 7-6 in errors, 8-6 in average, 7-7 in on base percentage.
Offensively, it's pretty
He's
solid.
he's leading the league in runs with 472. He's leading the league in home runs with 141. Um, he's sixth in the league in RBIs and with 434. He's got a 264 average. That's good for third in the league. He's got a 339 on base percentage. That's good for third in the league.
Yeah, this is a solid team. This is a playoff team. Could be a bye recipient this year. He's defending his crown very admirably, and I'm just proud of this guy, having seen him go through the doldrums and not being able to be competitive on this team. This is incredible.
Yes, yeah, it is. It's nothing short of amazing on how like it's just like, oh shit, I have Josh on my schedule next. It's just like
Mm-hmm.
that the whole mentality has now changed. And now that he's officially a champion, there's just you cannot deny that this guy can crush you every single week. He can crush someone.
No doubt.
And the pitching side, it's 7-7 in innings pitched, 5-5 in wins with 4 ties, 6-3 in losses, 8-2 in saves with 4 ties, 9-5 in home runs given up, 8-6 with walks given up, 8-6 in strikeouts, 9-5 in ERA, 8-6 in WHIP, 9-4 in relief appearances. Like, it's basically all over 500.
Yeah. Yeah, and this is how you end up 45 games over 500 after the first 15 weeks.
Mhm.
It's been a fantastic season for him. I hope nothing but the best for him. And if this is a championship level team, I would be happy to welcome him into the back to back club with Jay Ferraro.
Sure, sure. He's one of those guys you'd say like, yeah, he deserves it. Like it's not just like he drafts good team. It's not that he just plays logically throughout the season. Like he makes savvy moves. He knows how to play to the score. He's patient. He's he's just a perfect manager, man. And like when you think of like what he did to me in week 3, I believe it was, that he bluffed me out of 2 stats. It tells me like this guy is arguably the best manager in our league right now.
We'll have to see if he's able to complete the story and go back to back because I think just about everybody is rooting for him. All right, Benjamin, it's time to talk about your team. We've been going for 2 hours. It is time to talk about your team. 127 moves on the season, 3 trades. You got Arenado and Soderstrom for Lugo and Young. We're calling that a loss. You received Taylor Rogers for Christopher Morel from Chris Levy. Whatever. And you received Randall Grichuk for Josh Bell from Josh Haber. Doesn't matter. 8 wins on the season, including the current 10-week unbeaten streak, and you've been leading the league since week 10. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Your draft, you started with Harper, who had an IL stint, and it didn't derail you, it didn't ruin your season. Luis Arraez has 11 strikeouts on the season. What the fuck? Josh Hader's having a great year. Raisel Iglesias is having a bad year. And Alexis Diaz is having a terrible year and is no longer on the Cincinnati Reds.
Nope.
Despite that, you sit in first place. You have the number 1 waiver claim in hand. The buy is within sights. Seems like you know what you're doing this year.
Yeah, I think I've actually just had a lot of good fortune. I had 2 losses right to start the season where I was just like, oh boy, this better be like 2019 when I lost 14-5 to Joe and then 11-7 to Bobby and then found my way into first place. This year was a 12-7 loss to Bobby and then a 10-9 loss to Brian. And then I just kind of found my way after that. It was a 12-7 win over Josh and then a 12-9 loss to Mike. And then off we went with that 17-3 win on Frank. I changed my team name from I look into my father Arias to I like Big Buxton, I cannot lie. And since I picked up Buxton, Baez, and Soler that 1 week against Frank, and I guess I just found myself making better decisions day to day on like which starting pitcher to go for, which probable starter, which reliever I think will just get a clean inning, and which hitters I think will hit on that day. And I think I've done pretty decently as far as like the picks to click each day. As far as what I've done against opponents on the offensive side, it's 4-8 in runs, 8-6 in doubles, 5-1 in triples with 8 ties, 5-8 in home runs. So I'm under 500 in home runs. 7-7 RBIs, 3-9 in stolen bases, 6-7 in walks, 14-0 in strikeouts, 10-3 in errors, and 11-3 in average, and 11-3 in on base. So yeah, 11-3 in average, 11-3 in on base, 10-3 in errors with 1 tie against Chris Levy because of bias. But the 14-0 in strikeouts, that's the one that I'm pretty proud of, man, because when I drafted the team, like that's what I was focused on, like a high average team that doesn't strike out a lot and that defends. And I think like I've succeeded pretty well as far as like this is the team that I built for this reason, and they're doing exactly what I wanted them to do.
I would say so. 51 games over 500 with 7 to play. You feel pretty confident about making the playoffs this year. I think you're a lock there. The question is, can you close this out and get a bye and put yourself in a really good spot to win a 4th championship?
That's a whole different discussion, man. Like I have to first say the matchup against Costas is important. It's a 14-4 lead now. I would like to win by at least 6 there. If it ends up being, you know, I don't know. Let's even say like let's say it's 13-7. Like let's say that's the final score. I would definitely sign up for that. And then it's just Bobby, Brian, Josh, Mike Haber, Frank, Jimmy, Cody. Talk about 7 straight that are all in it, man. And
Hmm.
like, I've made a couple of very, very tough, foolish decisions against certain managers. I won't go into like how I could have grabbed the stolen base here and there, or could have won on base percentage here, or won errors there. Like, it doesn't matter because we're in week 15 now. So like, I can't really like dwell on that. I do feel like if I made those decisions, even like half of them, I'd feel a lot more confident. I've sort of come to accept that I won't get the bye this year and that I'm just going to be playing to the score to get a win or keep it close just to make sure that I don't completely collapse and lose my chance at a playoff. And I think with everybody playing against each other, it's going to be hard for me to fall out of a playoff spot. So I think at this case, I just have to be grateful because like I didn't make the playoffs. I was the 7th seed last year. That I have made the playoffs every odd year since 2015, 15, 17, 19, 21, and 23. I can do it again now. Like I've had good success here. And I think I have to just be proud of myself that like, okay, like I am the team of the first half. Like I don't think you or Frank or Bobby or Josh or anyone looked at my team, even when the trade with Arenado happened and before the season starts, you look at that team with Harper healthy and the bullpen or whatever, the starting pitching, whatever it was, you don't look at that team and say that's a first place team.
No,
And I think that because of the way it's constructed and how I played against opponents, I think that's why I'm in first place.
no doubt. You've been managing brilliantly all year long, man, and
Thank you.
it's a testament to what you've done in this league. How have you done on the pitching side against opponents?
Against the pitchers, just bear with me for a second.
Yep.
We got 5-9 in innings pitched, 5-8 in wins, 8-4 in losses, 13-1 in saves, 6-5 in home runs given up, 11-3 in walks given up, 5-9 in Ks, 6-8 in ERA, 8-6 in WHIP, and 11-3 in relief appearances. So 11-3 in relief appearances and 13-1 in saves. I think the bullpen has been a big part of the story here.
No doubt. No doubt. And it's the same every year. I mean, this year it's Hader and Iglesias and Emilio Pagan that you found and Jordan Romano that you picked up off of waivers and Kyle
Yep.
Finnegan's been
Yep.
getting games for you as
Solid.
well.
Yeah. The only thing is this week I've actually like they've all blown up. Like they have all betrayed me.
Hmm.
Hader, Finnegan, um, Romano, Spencer Bevins, like Matsui, like all like coughing up bombs, like big clutch bombs, just like get a save, find a way. But instead, it's just been like bomb after bomb. And it's just like, okay, at least it's all happening at the same time. It's all in week 15. It's all against Costas. Like this could happen at a what much worse time. But like, yeah, this I just hope that this is just like this doesn't mean that these relievers are starting to break down and they're starting to get too tired and it's like the end of the season and they're not going to be closing games, they're not going to be able to get saves anymore. I think that would be brutal and that might derail my entire chance of winning the whole thing.
Hmm.
But as of right now, I'm leading the league in ERA with a 3.34 ERA. The second is Cody with a 3.45. So I even have like a decent amount of space between him and I. And then I'm leading the league in WHIP with a 1.14, and Cody is second with a 1.16. So like the fact that I'm leading in ERA, I'm leading in WHIP. I'm obviously I'm pretty sure I have the least amount of strikeouts in our league. Yeah, by a lot. I have 536 strikeouts for a batter, and the next is 632 for my 536, which is Henry. So
Well done,
that
sir.
has been
Well done,
solid.
sir.
Thank you. And then lowest amount of errors in the league, 19 errors, and you are next with 23. So staying with a low strikeout, defensive team, bullpen heavy, pitching. I think that's part of the reason right now I'm the team of the first half. I'm amazed that I've done it all without Bryce Harper, without Sean Manaea, without Ezekiel Tovar. I've had a significant amount of injuries.
Hmm.
And holding on to the number one waiver spot, like not getting too impatient there. There had been temptations, but like I didn't want to pull the trigger on certain guys. And I'm glad I've done that because like now if I am in the playoffs, like I can use that whenever. Like I can use that at the most important part. So um yeah, I'm grateful. I realize how intense and how challenging this league is, and the fact that I've found a way to have as tough as a finish as I had last year. And I mean, you know that when I went down last year, it was like, and then maybe a little bit here, and then it was weird because I was first place after like 5 or 6 weeks
Hmm.
in 2024. It was like me and Jay Ferraro at the top of the standings, and then right after the All-Star break, after I beat Ari 12, I think I beat him something like 12-7 or 13-7, and then after that, it just never came back, and it was just so weird. So just to have given myself this much space and leeway to make mistakes, I feel like I'm in a spot where I really shouldn't be complaining about anything because a lot of guys in this league that have worked their asses off, they're really struggling. They're really grinding out for every single stat. So I'm humble and I'm grateful, and I appreciate how everything has gone for me this year. But I just want to make sure it's known that I appreciate how hard everybody's worked because it's shown like the amount of moves all the guys have made. It's very clear and present that they've all done an amazing job and they're all trying their ass off for this league.
And this is what we play for each and every season, man. We love this league and we love what you've created for us. This is unbelievable and it's going to be a fantastic finish to the 2025
Yes.
season.
Yes. And as like you said, man, um, more than a couple of heartbreaks this year.
Oh
There's
yeah.
just gonna, it's just, it's one of, the, it's really, we say it all the time. And yeah, last season, Henry, it wasn't really playing for much. He just didn't need to get killed against Josh and Bobby and I playing against each other. It was one of those rare times where there wasn't anything going on in week 22, where this season, we might see 5 or 6 teams playing for a couple of spots. And I, as someone who's the commissioner of the league, someone who's probably has one of those spots, I can sit back and enjoy the show because it is just going to be so much passion and so much stress for everybody else, and it's just going to be an amazing ride.
I can't wait to see it, man. And I can't wait to be a part of it. I'm certainly right in the middle of this thing.
Yeah.
My spot is not secure, so
Yeah.
I have to do my own grinding. Can't
Well,
wait to see it. Benji, thanks for being here tonight, my friend.
it's a pleasure, man. Happy All-Star break to you and the rest of the guys. I've had a great time watching the shows. You and Jason do an amazing job doing it week to week breakdowns. The Ghost Runner shows with you and Jay have been a lot of fun for a more of a conversational discussion sort of format. I've enjoyed that as well. It's been a real pleasure to watch, and I thank you very much for giving everybody the platform and an opportunity to really see what's going on in the league. And it's the bigs. It's the best fantasy league in the world, and I'm grateful for you and the rest of the guys to be a part of it.
You damn right it is. Guys, thanks so much for watching and listening and putting everything that you have into this league this year. It really shows. We really appreciate it. Until next time, guys, it's been real, it's been fun, and it is always real fun in the bigs. We'll see you next time.